Hey guys, and welcome to the new episode of Full Throttle, and today we'll show you one of the coolest and the most interesting electric cars you can buy today. This is the Tesla Model 3 Performance, and it's very fast, very futuristic, and it just might be the best middle class car you can buy today. And we all know that the Tesla models are best for launches and acceleration, so let's see how quick this Model 3 Performance is from 0 to 60. Now we put the car in sport and we put the steering in sport too. This probably doesn't really matter, but what's interesting here is that we don't really have launch control, so all you have to do is just stop the throttle, and you want to do it as hard as you can, like this. So you go 1, 2, 3. Oh. So let's see what times did we get from the Tesla Model 3 Performance from 0 to 62. We have 3.69 seconds, which is actually pretty impressive given the fact that it's raining, it's cold, and the conditions are not optimal at all. On better conditions, this car can do it in under 3.5 seconds, which is very impressive, and it will beat a lot of really serious sports cars. And because this is a Tesla and it's high-tech and from the future, of course, getting in the car, it's not very easy. You don't really even get a car key. You have this credit card thing here, which actually is your card key, and you don't press it, and you actually have to put it right here on the door, which will lock and unlock the car. And then there is no door handle because of course, so you actually have to press it here and push it here. Definitely a bit of stupid design. I wish it just popped out like Mercedes do, but so everything has to be different. So getting in the Tesla, it's a bit problematic, but now you're wondering how the hell do I get out? Because there is no door handle, there is nothing really here that says that you can go out. So you actually have to press that little ugly button which is barely marked, and the door will open because it's electric. But if you're out of battery, you still have a way to get out. This thing here is actually a mechanical lever, so if this one fails, you can actually open the door in the old school way. And of course, with the Tesla, you get probably the best and the most sophisticated autopilot function on the market. We didn't really have that much time to test it, and we found that sometimes it didn't really know where the car is or where it's supposed to go, and it insisted keeping the hands on the wheel. But this is by no means a comprehensive review of the system, and we'll do a separate one just on that. But for keeping the lane and staying on a good distance to the car in front of you, the system is pretty much perfect. What's also pretty cool is that you can actually look at the cameras from outside of the car in real time, and they're incredibly high definition, so you can see what's going on around the car. And what's even better is that these cameras are actually recording, and you have the feed saved in your car, so if anything happens on the road, you have a dash cam at all times, or you can even just look at the drive you just had, which is like in a video game, and it's pretty fucking amazing. So let's see exactly how it works. You go in the big menu here and you click that little camera. You go into launch viewer and it will actually load up your most recent journey. But if you click here, you actually have all of the drives on the car recorded, and you can even click here and we have the moments from the dealership when the person bought the car, which is super interesting because you have the history of the car, everything that has happened recorded on those screens, which is very nice. And you can see that somebody almost bumped the door here, so if any accident actually happens with the car, you can just go back and rewatch the footage and see what exactly has happened. So let's see how this Tesla Model 3 Performance is like to drive. And because this is the performance model, I want to start with driving it fast. So this car is very fast in a straight line. It has like 500 horsepower, but it definitely feels much faster than that because of the instant torque. It's actually pretty scary how fast it accelerates, and it doesn't stop all the way to 100 miles. Then it gets a little bit slower, but still that's the most real-world acceleration you're going to use. And with this car you're probably going to win pretty much every street race you get. But being fast in a straight line, it's fun, but up to a point. The real question is this Tesla Model 3 actually fun to drive when you go on a twisty road, when you go on a weekend drive and stuff like that? Well, it is and it isn't, because yes, it actually handles very well. You have a direct steering when you're in sport mode, and the car feels very well planted on the road. You have very little body roll, and this is a car you can trust to drive fast. But because there isn't really an engine, you have no gearbox, the driving experience is just very linear. You press the accelerator, the car goes forward, you let off it, and the regenerative braking starts slowing down. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, the power is instant, it's quick, but it just isn't really fun. And yes, you have better brakes here than most electric cars, and they're not as squishy, but still they're hard to dose. And when you go really fast, and especially in the turns, the car actually starts being a little bit awkward. The rear is sliding out when you're in track mode, but then because the car is all-wheel drive, it's actually turns it back in, and it's pretty strange, and it's not really confident it's sparring. I mean, yes, you can drive this Tesla very quick if you want to, but it's like a very quick golf cart. It's very linear and not that much fun, but it's capable. I think this is one of the fastest cars you can buy in this price range, and pretty much one of the best to drive on a fast road, but it simply isn't that much fun if that's what you're looking for. But let's say you're not all about the performance part of the car and you want something chill. Well, when you go in comfort mode, the car actually becomes very civilized, and because it's electric, of course, it's really quiet. It's reasonably well isolated from the road, and the wind noise is okayish. So you get a very nice daily driving car. It's comfortable, the suspension is not too harsh, while at the same time it's firm enough. The steering wheel becomes light, the car is maneuverable, and it's actually pretty enjoyable and chill to drive. So if that's what you're looking for, Tesla has done a really good job. So you pretty much get a very nice day-to-day car which can go fast in a straight line, and you can embarrass a lot of people in a drag race. Just don't come here looking for some type of crazy fun, because you won't find it. But still, for an electric car, I think this Tesla Model 3 is one of the best you can get, especially in this price range. So let's see how the Tesla Model 3 looks. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of all of their designs, but I think the front of this car actually looks very good. You have these headlights that kind of resemble Porsche, and the whole car is aggressive and has these sporty lines. So you definitely get the feeling that this is a serious sporty car and that it's electric and it's from the future. I think the front of this Model 3 actually looks quite good. So the side of the Tesla Model 3 actually looks quite weird to me, because the car starts as a sedan and it ends as sort of a hatchback, so you get this weird shape here. The car we have has the 20-inch wheels with the red brakes, which are part of the performance package, and they definitely look much better than the small aerodynamical ones, which are just awful. But overall, I don't really like the profile of the car. I think it looks a bit weird, and Tesla has done a much better job with the Model S. So the rear of the Tesla Model 3 is definitely not the most inspiring part of the car. Now here we have a very well-spec'd car which is black in color. You get this carbon fiber spoiler here, and you get these transparent tail lights which give it a pretty badass look. But if you get the car in a more basic color, it can look very ordinary, and I think the Model S looks miles ahead of this thing. The boot of this Tesla Model 3 is not the biggest, but it's actually pretty decent. It's of course fully automatic, and you have 425 liters of space because the batteries are under it. So it's not the biggest, but you can definitely fit all your luggage here, so it's doable for a family car. And when you close it, it does make this funny sound. And unlike some German electric cars which have ton of wires in the front, here in the Tesla you get a usable frunk. It's pretty spacious, you can fit here the cables and other sorts of stuff. And what's also really cool is that you get these amazing hexagonal elements here on the top of the lid, which gives it a very cool look. It's also very easy to open and close it. The interior of this car is definitely the most shocking and different aspect. When you climb in, the first thing you'll notice is that there are no dials here. So where do you see your speed? Well, it's here in the upper left corner of the multimedia screen. Now, this is definitely not the first car to do this. It might be a bit shocking at first, but actually I got used to it very quick and it's not really an issue. Some people are buying aftermarket parts to put here to have extra dials, but I think that's unnecessary and it will ruin the design of the interior. Now, the big multimedia screen is incredible. You have pretty much the best graphics and it's so quick, there is zero lag and everything is very well organized and you can get used to it really quick. It's much better than Audi system, and Audi has been doing multimedia systems for years. You have the steering wheel, which in this car is not the yoke which you get on the Plate Model S, and this is a conventional steering wheel, and I think it's one of the only conventional things in the car. It's pretty thick and you have these dials here. One is for the volume and the other is for something else, I don't really know. And then you get the gear shifter here, which is actually from Mercedes, and you have to press it like this, which is also pretty standard. Now, what actually shocked me was the build quality of the car, because everyone is complaining how Tesla sucks in that department, but in reality the car actually feels very nice and solid. You have nice materials, this wooden finish here, the leather is nice to touch, and the only cheap plastic is right here in the cup holders. You get dual wireless charging slots and pretty much no buttons at all. So the car definitely has a very clean, modern and good interior. And of course, one of the coolest parts of every Tesla is the giant panoramic roof that you get. Here it's not as big as the Model X, but it's still massive, and the real interesting thing is that it self-regulates to let the sun in or out, and it gives you a pretty cool view out of the car. So the Tesla Model 3 is the smaller of the two models, and the space in the rear is definitely not as big as the Model S, but still, you have plenty of knee room, and because of the panoramic roof you get plenty of headroom as well. And what's very cool is that the actual rear window is connected to the roof and gives you this super wide and super cool view. But the thing that's not so cool is that because the batteries are here under the floor, you get very high floor here, and the seating position is a bit weird with your legs very high up in the air. But still, you get two USB-C ports, so the kids behind don't have to fight who to charge their iPad, and the space is definitely okay for two adults. You have a middle seat here, but I would not really recommend it. Still, a pretty capable family car, which won't be too big, but definitely big enough for two people in the back. So the Tesla Model 3 Performance is definitely a very inspiring car. It's quick, it's different, and it's pretty amazing. The technology that this car has implemented definitely makes it stand out, and the handling and the speed are top of the class. Charging is one of the best in the industry and definitely the fastest, so it's pretty hard not to recommend this car. Yes, it might be a little quirky and a little bit different, but if you're into that, the Tesla Model 3 covers everything else. I just wish it was a little bit more fun to drive.